Ano-ano ang mga bagay na pinapahalagahan mo? Ito ang isa sa mga tanong na hindi natin matatakasan bilang tao dahil dito nakaangkla o nakabase ang ating pagdidesisyon sa buhay. Ang tanong na ito ang pundasyon ng ating moralidad at may paalala sa atin tungkol dito ang Ebanghelyo sa araw na ito. Nagsimula ang kwento ng Ebanghelyo sa araw na ito sa away ng magkapatid. Nakiusap kay Jesus ang isa sa kanila, "Master, tell my brother to give me a share of our inheritance." Malamang hindi na bago sa karamihan sa atin ang problemang ito, away magkapatid na ang ugat ay hatian ng kanilang mana. Sa unang tingin, parang may tamang dahilan naman ang lalaki sa kanyang paglapit kay Jesus dahil parang sa tono niya, si Jesus bilang isang guro na respetado sa lugar nila, ang kanyang last resort para matugunan ang kanyang problema. He sounded like an injustice has been done upon him, and so he needed Jesus to help him. But he must have been disappointed by Jesus' response. Sabi ni Jesus, "My friend, who appointed me as your judge or the arbitrator of your claims?" It was as if Jesus was telling him, "Kaibigan, huwag mo akong idamay sa problema ninyo. Wala naman akong kinalaman dyan." Worse even was the next line from Jesus, for he continued to say, "Watch and be on your guard against avarice of any kind." The word avarice is translated by the Magandang Balita Biblia as kasakiman. At ang sabi doon, mag-ingat kayo sa lahat ng uri ng kasakiman. Kung ako siguro yung lumapit at hingi ng tulong kay Jesus, mapapaisip siguro ako sa kanyang naging tugon. Pinariringgan ba ako ni Jesus na ako rin ay sakim? Humihingi lang naman ako ng tulong dahil dinaya ako ng kapatid ko. Pero bakit nga ba ganun ang tugon ni Jesus? Sa aking palagay, sumasalamin sa karamihan sa atin ang lalaki sa kwento ng Ebanghelyo sa araw na ito. Hindi nga ba't may mga pagkakataon na kapag may hindi tayo na pagkakasunduan, madalas nating naiisip na tayo ang tama, tayo ang nilamangan, tayo ang nalugi, at tayo dapat ang bigyan ng pansin at pabor. Often, when conflict arises, and when we are party to the conflict, we often think of ourselves as the victim, and the other as the unjust offender. So, we often take the stance of complaining against the injustice that we perceive to have been done against us by the other. Jesus' reaction to the man's request is far from an indifference to injustice. We have seen Jesus fought against injustice, and he always stood for justice. He even embraced and mingled with those people who have been unjustly marginalized and excluded in his Jewish community. So, far from turning a blind eye from injustice, Jesus' reaction to the man's request could perhaps teach us a lesson or a couple of lessons about our moral life. First lesson, I think Jesus is simply reminding us that we have to learn how to settle our differences or conflicts among ourselves. We perhaps would first need to assess whether an injustice has really been done against us, and we have to engage in an honest and open conversation to determine that. Learning how to talk things out with people whom we are in conflict with is a sign of maturity, of moral maturity. It is sometimes childish to always rely on others to settle our conflicts for us. Ugaling bata, laging nagsusumbong like, "Mama, si kuya inaaway ako," o "Papa, si bunso sinira yung school projects ko," etc. etc. May mga raming similar instances na ating masasight sa ating mga tahanan. Pero di ba tayo na rin mismo ang nagpapaalala sa mga bata sa ating mga tahanan na kapag meron silang hindi na pagkakasunduan, pag-usapan muna nila. Their maturation demands that they engage in those kinds of conversation needed for them not only to compromise, but to more importantly arrive at a mutuality of understanding. Baka naman wala talagang nanlamang o wala naman talagang nilamangan. Hindi lang nasunod ang gusto ng isa, kaya't napaisip siya nung umpisa na nilalamangan siya ng iba. Sa tingin ko, isa ito sa nakita ni Jesus na kulang nung lumapit sa kanya ang lalaki para manghingi ng tulong. Baka mas gusto ni Jesus na bumalik muna siya sa kanyang kapatid at sila muna ang mag-usap kaysa sa panghihimasukan sila ni Jesus. Second lesson. Our conversations can only become fruitful and formative if we learn how to distance ourselves from our immediate desires, especially the desire to enrich ourselves not only with money, but with other things like prestige, attention from others, power, influence, etc. Ito marahil ang dahilan kung bakit nagkwento si Jesus tungkol sa taong hangal. His foolishness stemmed from his incapacity to realize that his security in life is not guaranteed by his riches. For many of us, it is this sense of security that blinds us of what really matters in our relationship with people. Bakit nag-aaway-away ang magkakapatid dahil lang sa mana? Alam naman natin ang sagot dyan. We just refuse to acknowledge it in ourselves. That is the fact that we sacrifice our relationships with people in exchange of things or in exchange for things like inheritance because of our desire to secure ourselves. Perhaps, through this second lesson, Jesus reiterates his invitation for us to reassess our moral life as a search for our security, especially monetary and financial security. Maybe we miss the point when we ask the question, what is it that gives me a sense of security and happiness in life? For one, the question of what points us to things. And we need to be reminded again and again that there is no thing, nothing in this life can really provide us that secure foundation and complete happiness. So Jesus has to remind us, and we have to remember in our life this reminder again and again, that it would be foolishness on our part to think that we could destroy the old barn and build bigger ones again and again in order to store more harvests and to provide security for ourselves. This never-ending cycle will not guarantee our absolute happiness, for we can never be fully happy in this life. So, instead of hoarding things for ourselves, why don't we establish a healthy distance from them? Maybe we'll one day realize that we would be happier if we have things shared and spent for the benefit not only for ourselves, but also for those other people around us.